So this is a reading, Janelle, from Face to Face, Smart Conversations with yourself, your teenager, and your young adult. And it is from the Conversation Devo, page 49 and 50. As I met with my coach this past week, we discussed how important the following 4 questions are in any conversation. What am I thinking and feeling going into this conversation? What is my attitude? What words do I consistently use that make them no longer hear me? Am I considering the outcome that my words may have on my children? We usually have great intentions, but sometimes the results of those intentions look different than what we had in mind. I have experienced this with my children on more than one occasion. In Conversational Intelligence, author Judith Glaser says this: according to research, 9 out of 10 conversations miss the mark. There is now scientific research and data available on the chemical reactions and responses that occur as we interact with others through conversation. These new advances in neuroscience are giving us the tools to look inside our brains as we have conversations to reveal just what is going on and why.
Sometimes the story we tell ourselves is not really true. Sometimes the story others tell about us is not really true. Here on today's Heartlift with Janelle, we are going to learn how to rewrite our story. So pick up your favorite pen and journal, grab a cup of something delicious, and start your heart-lifting journey towards living a meaningful life.
Hello and welcome to today's Heartlift with Janelle. Whew, those were the wise words of dear Patti Reed. And we are so happy to have her here today. Patti is first and foremost a wife, love that, to Frank, and a mom to Ryan and Hope. Patti homeschooled for 7 years with a passion and commitment to impact the spiritual, emotional, and intellectual health and growth of her children. She's an entrepreneur and owned a Christian advertising business for 18 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. I've never been there and I want to come. Patti's experience includes leading a team of other aspiring entrepreneurs through her skincare business. Her most recent venture began over 3 years ago when she answered God's call to write a devotional book around the topic of parenting teens and young adults. And that's what we're here to talk to you about. I am so eager because just what you just read is impactful and life-changing. So welcome, Patti.
Thank you, Janelle, so much for having me. I'm glad that we finally got to do this. It took a little bit, but here we are.
It did. I tell you, sometimes it just does. Patti, I'm so curious because, in the world of therapy and coaching and psychology and all of these spirituality and formation and all of these things, personal development, there's just so many tools and so many areas of really strategic focus. And you're bringing one to us today. And I am so eager to know more about it. I'm an avid learner and I can't wait to learn more about conversational intelligence.
Yes.
Tell us, please, what that is, how you got certified, all that jazz.
Yeah. So conversational intelligence is a body of work that helps us understand, what conversations open up the brain for trust and what conversations close them down. And my coach is certified in conversational intelligence. And so when I first started working with her, she was telling me about this and I was very intrigued, just like you are. And I thought, what is that? I want to have smart conversations, right? And so because I was, I've been in business, I've, like I said, homeschooled my kids. So whether it be personally or professionally, I wanted to impact and influence the conversations I had. So that's why I ended up enrolling in the course and going through that, and then eventually became certified in conversational intelligence. So that's kind of the brief version.
So it kind of happened, unfolded for you because you were already a successful a successful entrepreneur. It wasn't like you were out there looking for anything to add to your plate. But as God does, he unfolds our destiny, unfolds and invites us into other things that will enhance right, our capacity.
Yes.
To maximize our destiny and how we're going through it. So it seems like you just met a woman who was a coach and she was helping you. And then here we are.
Yeah. It was pretty remarkable.
Cool. I love it. You've said so many things. So I'm just trying to stay focused as my listeners so much allow me to do this because I get so excited. So conversations that open up the brain for trust.
Mm-hmm.
Please talk to us. This is so critical.
Yeah. So obviously my beachhead was older teens and young adults, which is not easy.
No.
And, we go through many transitions with our children, infants and toddlers and tweens and teens and, onto this new area, right, of older teens and young adults. And when the Lord asked me to do this, I did a little bit of research. And quite frankly, I really could not find any devotionals out there to address this. And I thought, that can't be.
That can't be. Exactly.
Can't be. And because I have two of my own children, my daughter Hope is 22, my son Ryan is 27. They've given me lots of lessons, Janelle. And
do tell. No. Mine are 35 and my twins are 31. So, here's the thing, right, Patti? Like these mama bloggers, they have freedom when their children are little, but as mommy bloggers of adult children, not quite so easy. Easy.
It's not so easy. And so,
yet the conversations need to happen.
Yes.
Because I know so many of us who have adult children who are so struggling, but it's, let's just bring that to the table today. So how we can maybe have a smart conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. And, again, getting back to the trust thing, right? Building trust is really what, it's all about. And so that we are able to influence those that we love, particularly, right, our children. If we're not having a conversation, Janelle, we have no influence over them. So what adjustments do we need to make in our own life so that we can keep the communication open? Yeah. And I actually had a messenger conversation with a gal yesterday. And she basically told me, we went to the same church together for years. She's an acquaintance. And I'm having a little gathering tomorrow for moms. And we're just going to talk about listening. How do we listen well?
Oh, I want to be there.
We'll put you on FaceTime.
Ooh.
And so anyway, so she was like, oh, I'm not sure. It's spring break. I'm not sure. And I was like, well, if you can come, that's great. Well, then she started telling me her story and how one of her daughters, she's not spoken to her in 6 months. They had a blow up, a disagreement. And, it just broke my heart because how many more of those are out there?
Many.
And so, as I was, I just encouraged her. What came up for me in that discussion and thinking of it afterwards, I really think, and again, I really think that she had some shame around that she was not having a conversation with her daughter. And I've been reading this great book on shame. And so I thought,
tell us which one. We always want to know.
Okay. The Soul of Shame.
Soul of Shame, Dr. Kurt Thompson.
Gosh, I love this.
Yes. He's been on the show. He's amazing. Yes.
The Soul of Desire.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So anyway, so good. You're familiar with all that.
Very familiar.
Right? So I'm all over that. And
good.
She's embarrassed. She's in shame. She doesn't want to come. Well, I encouraged her, prayed for her. And I'm happy to say that she's coming tomorrow. She got back to me this morning and I thought, oh, good. Hopefully I created that space and that trust.
You did.
Like, girl,
safe
we're
space.
In the same boat, right? Like you're not alone in this.
No.
So anyway, I'm happy that she is coming. And she said, well, maybe I could be the one that says, here's what not to do.
Oh,
which there's a place for that.
Oh, there is. Yes.
And then she said, but maybe I could have some tools ready when that reconciliation does happen.
Oh, I'm so
So I
excited,
said,
Patti.
absolutely.
I'm so excited. You are a true heart lifter. Heart lifters are those who
Oh,
create safe spaces in which people
yes.
can gather and be authentic and
Yes.
be so okay in order to
Yes.
open up their hearts. Our hearts are very fragile, very
They
fragile.
are very fragile. And again, because you are familiar with, the soul of shame and just the whole vulnerability piece, that
Mhm.
we cannot, I mean, I really believe, just from all the reading and different things, that, it's vulnerability that leads us to intimacy, whether that
Yes,
be, with our family, with the people that we work with. I mean, we're all broken.
we
Right?
are.
We all are broken. We've
Yep.
got stuff. Sometimes I get the conversations right with my kids. Sometimes I don't. They tell me.
Yeah. Oh,
I
immediately.
don't.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, maybe
And
not immediately always,
I'm
but
like, oh
eventually.
yes, I'm the conversational, expert. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry, I'm
I
broken.
know. There's so much pressure. So much pressure.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
do you create that safe space of trust? How do we
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah. That's a great question.
That's a big
And
one. That's a big one. I know. We're not
it
going to
is.
solve it in 20 minutes, but
Yeah, but there are some things and ways that you can consider, as you think about it, especially for those important conversations. Like, say, this woman is going to get with her daughter.
yes, yes.
So, what I would encourage others, obviously, we're always going to pray. Okay, we're going to sit with the Lord, and we're going to ask Him, what does this look like?
I'm not sure everybody would know how to do that. So I'm really thankful that you're bringing that to the table.
Okay, good.
To sit with God, to sit. That's the key there. Those contemplative practices, right, of stillness, silence, and solitude, which are the hardest.
Yes.
Talk a lot about that here in the community, but to ask Him,
Yes.
to seek Him. And I just went through this, and it's like days of silence, of not hearing, but it was like, I am not stopping.
Good.
I am going to sit and wrestle and grapple and scream until I get it. So
good.
how do we do this? How do we
So
create
good.
this
Well, you
trust?
might be able to tell us more about that, but I do want to have a conversation off of this about all that, because I've read your, website and stuff like that. So I'm all into that too, because there's, we learn, Janelle, both in solitude and in community, and they're both needed in our lives.
Yep.
So creating that safe space, I would say we first, again, we're going to sit with the Lord. We're going to be quiet. I like to say that, praying is obviously talking to God, and meditating, Christian meditation, is listening.
Yep.
And being quiet. And sometimes something comes up, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So really having that time, consistently, particularly before you're going to have that important conversation. And then I would also say that, again, asking Him questions about, is there anything that I say or do, or my tone, or my facial expressions?
That's what, 90, I don't know, what is it, 89.73% or 97.3.
Yes.
It goes to a different
It's
continuum.
nonverbal cues.
Nonverbal cues. They're everything. And prosody, your tone of voice, is absolutely everything.
Yes. And can I just tell you that my son, I would make these, I homeschooled my children.
Yeah, I did too. 14 years. I know.
Okay. So
my choice.
Yes,
my choice.
Absolutely. Lots of faces. And my son would say, you're making that face again, that face. And I would literally throw myself in the closet on the floor. And I'd say, Lord, you're going to have to change this. I don't even know that I'm making a face.
No, you don't.
Okay. I need help.
That's so good, Patti. I think I would love to add to that, because what I've learned even in the last month is sitting, really sitting, grappling, wrestling, like I was saying, is more about me and less about finding an answer. Yes. It's more about me softening and being able to make space in my ears and my eyes and my heart and my mind and my soul and my body to go, I don't know any other word than softening or tenderizing. Just softening, like calm it all down, girl.
Yes.
Calm it all down, and really become introspective.
Yes.
What am I doing? What have I done wrong up to this point?
That's right.
What behaviors need to change?
Yes.
And I will always add in this conversation, what trauma-informed work might I need to do?
Right.
Because that happens on a subconscious level. You are not aware you're making that face.
Totally.
No, you probably mirrored it from your mom. She mirrored it from her grandma. I don't know.
Yes.
So then you're sitting and you're laying down and yes, help me change this face.
Yes, totally.
So good.
So that's
okay.
I mean, that's a lot,
That is a lot. Step one, right.
Yeah, but very important. And just humility. I mean, there were many times that I would be repenting to my son because he was the firstborn, strong-willed. Actually, they both kind of have a strong will, but yeah. And I would look at him and I'd go, okay, so like, do you see how much I need Jesus? Okay, like I don't arrive. None of us arrive. And, will you forgive me again? Will you forgive me again? So I think as they get older, some of their bubbles are popped, right? Like they thought mom was, Oh
yes. It's so sad when that day comes though.
It is.
Isn't it? As a mom, it's like, gosh, you're seeing right through me. Oh my gosh. I can't get away with it anymore. I asked you to hold me accountable, but ouch.
Yeah. So, again, just the humility in the relationship is so important. How about, obviously we've had some stuff and I would like to know if we could begin again.
Oh, I love that, Patti. I love the humility on your face. I love the sound of your voice. I love the invitation, because we call that emotional repair.
Yes.
And as I say, so many times, please forgive my repetition, but that is one of the laws of the learner, that we're going to flip our lid occasionally. We're going to yell. We're going to really show our humanity. We don't want to excuse it. We want to run to the closet. We want to get it right. We want to get help if we need it. But if you offer emotional repair to a child,
it's huge.
It's huge.
It's huge. And one of the things that I say, I think I say it in the book, I can't remember, that as, parents of these adult children, and teens, or anybody really for that matter, we need to stop telling, selling, and yelling. And
I'll say that again. Lean in here. Woo, this is a teaching moment. I feel it.
Stop telling. Because as moms, that's what we did, right? That's what we did.
That's exactly what we did.
We were telling, we were selling our agenda. We were talking really loud. We were yelling.
Wow. So I did not. I repressed.
Oh, no.
And I banged cabinets. I did terrible things. And I talk way too much about that. Everybody knows in the community. But if you're new, some families are yellers, some are repressors. And I have 2 shows on that you can go back and listen to: The Anatomy of Yelling, The Anatomy of Repression. Okay. So I love this because I have never heard telling, yelling, and selling, and yelling.
And we need to replace that. We're going to replace that, Janelle, with asking, listening, and responding.
I really need you to unpack that for me. That is so brilliant. Say that whole thing again. People write this down. Oh, Heartlifters. Yeah. This is so good.
So we're going to stop telling. And so let me just pause for a minute there. There comes a point, again, we're talking about young adults here, right? There comes a point.
Yeah, but I want to interrupt you here because honestly, I think that this is something that can be bred in the earliest of years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do have to tell some things, but yes. Yeah. Okay. So keep going.
So my reference point or my example is we do a lot of telling, right? And it might be healthy telling when they're younger, right? But then when they get to that older teen and young adult, we can't do that anymore. Okay.
Tell us why. Yeah.
Because that will actually shut down the brain. right? Telling does not, nobody wants to be told what to do.
Not a soul.
Nobody, no. So telling will shut down the brain. Asking will open up the brain. I mean, what did Jesus do? That I have a little like passion of this book idea about going through all the questions.
Yes.
Right? So this is how he opened up the brain.
Always.
Because he asked great questions. And
He
so
did.
the telling thing is not going to fly. You know, they want to be respected and honored. That's a big need of ours, is to be honored as people. God made us that way. So,
yes.
Well, what do you think, Johnny? You know,
Yes.
what do you know, so anyway, so
you're training, really. You know, I would maybe exchange the telling what we, you know, and you give us an alternative, but it's training, you know, and this has to expand to the mental and the emotional and relational health, not just spiritual things. You know, it has we have to train our children and help them have a heightened emotional intelligence. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, that's exactly right. And so then you have, telling and selling. So then the second thing would be, it's the persuasion, Janelle. It's the persuasion and advocating what we think is right, because we are addicted to being right. And it like, for instance, I use this example in the book, and, you know, so college, right? Like, so one of the questions I ask is, you know, how about if you asked your child if they had all the resources in the world to do anything they wanted when they graduated high school, what would they do?
I love that question.
Because
it's beautiful.
You may get an insight into what's really in their heart. Because mama and daddy like have kind of like laid out, like, this is the path and this is what you're doing.
And we do that very well in our Western culture. Yes.
And I had one child who went to college for 2 years, and now he's in real estate, doing great.
Fantastic.
And I had my daughter wanted nothing to do with college, and she went to an acting conservatory.
Fabulous.
Yes. And it's still in New York. And so, you know, those were adjustments.
I'm sure a hit on the parenting. What am I putting on the back of my car? Let's just remember that.
Wait, what was that?
Sticker is going to go on the back of my car? Oh. It's like a badge of honor.
Oh, that's so funny. No, that was not me.
Maybe that's East Coast. Who knows?
That's why I wrote about it. Well, no, I'm East. I'm a
okay. Girl, you know? All right. Okay. Just type A-ness. I don't know what it is, but it was just like, where's your child going to school? Where's your child?
I'm so glad that you said that.
Good.
Because I know that's there.
It is there.
They won't admit it. But
I know I did it.
There. And I actually run like 500 miles from that, because I just think, wait a minute, even though I have to make adjustments and it's kind of scary, the Lord has gotten my husband and I to where we are today. I only went to school for a year or after high school. And he, honestly, he's in radio. He's had a very successful career in radio.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. And so he went to some like quickie radio broadcasting school. But anyway, God has helped us find our way. And so I feel the same for my children. And here's the thing, Janelle, we are stewards over their lives. We have been given stewardship.
Yeah.
And so we can make suggestions and let's explore. Okay. Let's explore all options.
Think it all the way through.
Yeah. And then what do you want to do?
I love that, Patti. You are opening up such a beautiful, safe space to exist with your children as they're growing and maturing. Because what you're doing is empowering them to think for themselves. It's stewardship, not ownership. It's a huge difference. Right?
Bingo. I love that. That is beautiful. And I'm going to remember that. It is stewardship, not ownership.
No, it isn't.
And, you know, how am I going to look if
doesn't
go to college?
Yeah. Oh, my child just went to community college. That's what you get around. I'm like, you don't have to whisper it. It's fantastic. I mean, community colleges are awesome. You know?
Well, they say it's not where you start, it's where you end, right? So don't pay the money, go to the junior college, and then go to some, A&M or Baylor or whatever.
Whatever. You're in Texas, which is heavy, big time colleges, right? It's laden with it.
Anyway.
So opening their minds to trust is by asking them, really strong, great questions. How does a parent learn that skill? I am asked that all the time. And I thought, I have Patti with me. She's certified in a specialist and she's also so wise. How do we train ourselves in that skill?
Well, and I mean, I'm all for coaching, right? I mean, again, I've been with my coach for, I'm going to say 5 years. And because of that, we need people in our lives, Janelle, that are going to ask us hard questions.
Yes.
Even though, maybe it is a friend, but, like in my situation with my friends, I'll say to them at times, can I put my coaching hat on?
All the time. Or I usually go, can I take that off?
And they go, yeah. So they know, okay, this is going to be a hard question. But, I mean, Jesus said, do you want to get well?
That's exactly right. Do you want to be whole? Yes.
Do you want to get well?
Get up off that mat.
Right.
Get going. Yes.
Right. Yes. So, I think, again, creating a safe space through, building that trust through humility, through the words that we choose, through watching our tone, our facial expressions, all of that. And then the other thing I like to say also in going back to, creating that safe space of trust so that you can have those great conversations and ask those great questions.
Yeah.
Asking those great questions will create that.
It will. It will
create that.
Yeah.
But I also encourage people to think about the environment. Okay. So where are you having that conversation?
There you go. That's so good. Timing, environment.
That's right. Hey, let's, they've got a favorite coffee shop. They've got a favorite restaurant. They've got a favorite park.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but a little thought into
tell me your world.
Yeah. Going into their world. It's their place. And then I also like to say that having a pre-conversation. And the pre-conversation is with the Lord. We talked a little bit about that.
Yep.
But we are thinking about them. Janelle, we are thinking, look, I might not like my person right now,
yep.
but I always love them.
Correct.
And what is it that I love about them? So I'm thinking on.
So you're remembering, you're reminding. Yeah.
That's right. I'm thinking on, oh my gosh, my husband is an amazing provider and he loves better than I do. And he's so willing to, be a servant. And so, those kinds of things are going to give you happy chemical downloads.
You've got to talk about these happy chemical downloads. So this is how we do it. We bring up and remind, the Bible is so clear on remembering, reminding, like you just remembered your first love with your husband, right? That's such a beautiful admonition in Revelation, I believe. Remember your first love. So when we remember, I do that all the time and I didn't even know it was a thing. Yeah. Like, I would remember my son's, here, his shoulder here, or his head on my shoulder, or just moments where we have connected in the past. That's just one of my children. I try to at least create that safe space inside of myself.
Yes.
That, I am loved. Yes. I am seen. I am known. It's secure attachment. We talk about that a lot here. Yes. So I love that.
As Kurt would say, seen, soothed, safe, and secure.
Yep. That's good. Right? Beautiful. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah. So we humble ourselves. We consider, we bring them in. It's not just all about us. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to shift. It's a very hard thing to shift. Well, you hurt my feelings, or you did this, or you did that. I do want to interject here that I teach a lot on nonviolent communication, and there's a great book by Oren J. Sofer that is kind of dummies it all down. And he has a beautiful PDF that's available on my site, and everyone that my clients know it's there, but I wanted to offer that here. So it's called Nonviolent Communication Phrases. So if you don't know how to start these opening questions, these questions that open the brain, I am sure Conversational Intelligence has them available too.
Yeah.
Right. So
yes. Okay. Well, what I was going to say was I just did a workshop 2 weeks ago. And one of the exercises that I'll do with them is I have these cards that I've created, and, it's don't say this, say this, right?
Love
and then
that.
they have to match up like what goes with what. And then, so it's the shifting of how we say things or when we say things. And then at the end, then after that, I have them, I'm like, okay, I want you to sit down and think about, what are some of those phrases that you say that you could say differently?
That's so good. That's just, that's it. So rich though, because, particularly if you have not had that modeled to you. So we're going to once again, just, bring up our family of origins and those who have been in our lives who have not modeled that for us.
Yes.
So it does take a rewiring and a reframing to learn. It's a skill. It is a skill. Do you advise, Patti, for couples, parents to practice? Like, I know this is what my husband and I have done as I grow and study and learn new techniques. And the Enneagram has been extremely helpful, that personality motive typing test, to know how to speak to a certain personality, how they're going to receive it according to their personality, but I think it's important, number one, to create, like you said, a fresh start, a new day. I'm always encouraging families at the beginning of any work with a family system. It's a new day, and you just have to gather together. Not like we did. We were like, get on the couch. My kids are still afraid to all sit on the couch together. They start sweating.
Yes. We have that.
Ticking and, oh my God, it's a couch. It's a couch meeting. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
We had the chair. We
did that so wrong, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. When you know better and you can do better. So that's my motto. But where they would say, listen, when you say that to me, it makes me feel. That's a very traditional conversational skill. But my husband and I, 37 years, going on 38, we now will say, I need you to say it this way to me. Because when you say it the way you're saying, it's either your I'm letting him know, like your son let you know.
My desire, particularly with my children and with my husband, obviously, is to be a model. And again, I don't always get it right, but to listen in a way that will build a bridge. Yes. And then again, ask a question or two or whatever. And if it comes out wrong or, they'll let me know. So I think I probably had the most practice with my daughter. She's definitely going to be, I don't know. I mean, even though she'll always be an actress, but she's so people smart. I mean, she's so highly emotionally intelligent. Yeah.
Wow.
And we're very different. And so I'm always amazed at the great relationship that we do have and that we're able to, because she's so honest, but she's gentle. Like she's this beautiful combination of my husband and I, because I'm a Jersey girl.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it is, bottom line. And then we have the tender-hearted man so I'm a prophet, he has mercy.
Gotcha. What a great mix.
Yeah. Yes. So she's this beautiful, like she will tell you where things are at and what's going on, but she's very diplomatic about it. And
beautiful.
She really she blows me. I mean, I've just learned so much from her. So anyway, I just really I haven't really necessarily done role modeling, but I try to model that myself because I want them to catch it, as opposed to, I remember hearing a quote when my kids were growing up that, more is caught than taught.
Oh, that is my grounding. Yeah. I read that first in F.B. Meyer, an old English scholar from the late 1800s. Yes. Yeah. More is caught than taught.
Yeah. So I like even tomorrow, right? I have this little gathering of moms right at the coffee shop and we're going to talk about listening. And so I was just thinking before, like, what is that going to look like? And what am I going to do with that? And so I jotted a few ideas down, but I tend to, and it's a little bit riskier, but I want to be led by the Spirit, Janelle. And so I don't want to necessarily have an agenda.
A program, right?
I want to try to
hear,
I'll have a couple little things, but I want to model to them listening well, and then ask them, questions, because really it's about them. So
it's about connection, community, safe space. Beautiful. Yeah. Bravo. You're such a Heartlifter.
Oh, thank you.
So proud of you. It's amazing that you're going to do that. I love that. Yeah. So good.
It's good.
So one more big question is just how then can we keep opening up ourselves for happy chemical downloads? I just love that so much.
So how do we stay in a place? Matter of fact, I was practicing my little talk on reclaiming conversations in our lives. And so, one of the points is creating space. And in that space, there is gratitude. But gratitude, see, you cannot be in angst and worry and uncertainty and gratitude at the same time.
You really can't. It's so proven. It's inextricable.
Right. So because when you're in the back of your brain, which is the primitive brain, amygdala, whatever.
Yep.
That's your guard, right? God made that for a reason. When we were being chased by lions and tigers and bears.
That's right. Oh my.
We needed, protect, right?
Yes.
And we've been in a lot of that in the last 2 years.
We have.
We've all had to work through that. But when we can go into a place of gratitude, that brings us forth to our prefrontal cortex, which will put us in a place of gratitude and greatness. And I'm so
reasoning, being able to reason, not be irrational.
Well, what happens is, and we've seen a lot of this last year, we get to think clearly.
Yes.
We get to think clearly. We make good decisions. Right. We have creativity available to us and empathy. And when we're back here,
shut down.
Available. Shut down.
Yeah.
So gratitude is one of the ways, obviously meditation. And I know we talked a little bit about that. I have been consistently meditating for probably over a year now, just because it was time for that practice to be introduced. And
would you give us a little insight into your practice, what it looks like? Because I know a lot of Christians are so afraid of that word, which it's so biblical. I deal with that all the time. I've created a lot of them myself just for that reason. But could you give us a peek?
Yeah.
Just some.
And I noticed that on your website, and I'm going to go back, and I'm glad that you said that. I believe that our breath is sacred.
It's so sacred.
It's sacred.
I mean, Genesis 2:7, it's one of the meditations I created. God breathed his breath into us. I mean, I know I sat with that for I always go back to that meditation, and I created it. It's like, let's just go back there in that moment when God said, I think I'm going to create this fiery redhead. And he breathed his life into me. Yeah. Okay. So breath prayer, would that be what you're kind of inferring here, or just that our breath is?
Think that so much can come from, it goes back to the solitude. And when you are focusing on the breath of life, God who breathed, the fact that you can even take another breath, you don't even realize the sacredness of that and the beauty of that piece in your life can contribute to you in many ways. For instance, the whole calming down, right? The parasympathetic nervous system.
Down,
deep breathing, right? To calm everything down so that we can have a good conversation.
Yes, it's so integral. It's what I pound the table over so much, and it's so difficult. I know how difficult the whole process of calming down is. I don't think I've ever understood, but it's because my nervous system never got a grip on what it even felt like. So that is where we start. I think that's beautiful. What are you what is your most current meditative passage? Is there one, or just one that's your favorite? Just would love to know.
No, I don't really have a passage, but I can tell you that, when I felt like when the Lord was moving me to explore this whole idea of what is meditation. I mean, it's all throughout the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was be still and know.
Oh, yes. So good.
Still and know.
So Patti refers to Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. So let's just take a big inhale. And a nice big exhale. You can make that inhale 4 counts, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can make that exhale 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counts. It's all your decision. But you're going to work through this. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be still. Shh. Hand over your heart. Be still. Big deep breath in. Big deep breath out. Be. Be. Be.
So yeah, and I mean, sometimes I focus on scripture, sometimes I focus on breathing, sometimes I just...
Yeah, there's lines of poetry because I love the poet David White, John O'Donohue, and there are just so many powerful passages in poetry as well.
Email me a couple.
They're so powerful. Like I usually can't get through 1 or 2 lines without having to just stop and go, okay, I've been trying to figure out how to say this. And he just said it. And wow, poets are so concise. They're so concise with their word choices.
Absolutely.
So Patti, this has been so awesome. And I wanted to ask you this question. I thought maybe I'll ask offline, but are you taking new clients now? Or are you full?
Yeah.
Or you are?
Yes.
Okay. So if any Heartlifters out there are in need of a conversational coach that will help them raise their conversational intelligence, you are the woman. I may hire you myself because I've learned so much from you, but I'm so grateful. And I will give everybody all the links to find you so they can explore your website's beautiful. It's so helpful.
Yes.
And so Patti,
thank you.
Until we meet again.
Yes.
Which I hope is sooner than later. Thank you for your wisdom today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your great questions.
Thanks for listening today. It was great having you here. For even more great content and resources, please join the Stronger Everyday online community at JanelleRaridan.com. Always remember, you, my friend, have value, worth, and dignity.